Hi, today's lesson is 1.1, solving linear equations. So let's go ahead and get into the notes. Okay, so like I said, lesson 1.1, solving linear equations. So with our notes, please make sure that you write anything that I write, like instructions or notes, or any step, okay? So our instructions are to solve each equation. So some of this is information that you have learned before in Algebra 1, but it is always good to review the basics as well as expand upon those and do some more challenging problems. So question number 1, 3 times the quantity of 2x minus 1 quantity minus 2 times the quantity of 3x plus 4 quantity equals 11x. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute for both sets of parentheses. Okay, so 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, and equal to 11x. Okay, now we're going to combine like terms. So 6x minus 6x, well, those are going to add up to 0, and then negative 3 and negative 8 become negative 11. Now we're solving for x, so I'm going to divide by 11 on both sides. And when I do so, x is simplified to negative 1, right? And you can write your answers like this, or you can rewrite it where it's x equals negative 1. I'm usually the type of person that likes my variables on the left side, but it doesn't matter. Either answer would work. Okay, let's try number 2. Two-thirds times 3x plus 6 quantity equals 4x minus 1/2 times the quantity of 8x minus 1, end of quantity. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and distribute again. Now, when you distribute, okay, let's go ahead and talk about what happens in between there. This is not something we're going to always think about, but I want you to think about it for this example just because it is the first lesson. So, and we always want to make sure we use our fractions, okay? Fractions are friends, not food, okay? To quote Finding Nemo, okay? Fractions are friends. We like fractions, okay? So 2/3 times 3. So you want to think of it as 2/3 times 3 divided by 1. And then plus 2/3 times 6 divided by 1. Let's just rewrite it, and that's why we have a pencil, because I can rewrite it. Equals 4x minus 1/2 times 8 divided by 1. And negative 1/2 times negative 1 is positive 1/2. Okay, like I said, this step is not going to be required for your work, but I just want you to kind of realize and remember what's going on. So 2/3 times 3 divided by 1, remember that you can cross simplify, so 3 and 3 would simplify, and 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So you get 2x, and then here 3 becomes a 1, and 6 becomes a 2, because 3 and 3 is 1, and 3 and 6 is 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So 2x plus 4 equals 4x minus half of 8, x is negative 4x plus 1 half. Okay. Then we're going to combine like terms. On the left side, there isn't anything to combine, but on the right side, 4x and negative 4x become 0. So we're left with equals 1 half. From here, we're going to go ahead and subtract 4 to the other side. Now, over here, 1 half minus 4. In Algebra 1, we would have gone over and taught how that works out, but in this scenario, you can just use your calculator, okay? And if you have your graphing calculator, I can go ahead and show you a great step to help you here. So we have 1 half, so parentheses 1 divided by 2, and we are subtracting 4. Okay, and we get a decimal. Now what did we say? Fractions are friends, so we want fractions. So what you're going to do is up here at the top, you see your buttons. So you're going to hit the math button, and your first option says FRAC, which is short for fraction. So you're going to hit enter, and you're going to hit enter one more time, and it'll turn it into a simplified, try this again, simplified improper fraction. Okay, we do not want mixed numbers either, so improper fraction. So we get 2x equals negative 7 halves. Okay, from here we need to divide by 2. Okay, so I need to take this whole fraction and divide by 2. Now what happens when you divide by a fraction? Well, you're actually multiplying by the reciprocal. So you're in reality doing x equals negative 7 halves times the reciprocal of 2. Well, firsthand, 2 is really 2 divided by 1, so the reciprocal of 2 divided by 1 is 1 half. And then you multiply across. So therefore, x equals negative 7 fourths. Okay. We also like vertical fractions versus horizontal fractions. So for example, we like negative 7 divided by 4, which we like, not negative 7/4. Okay? So we don't want this, we like this. Okay? Let's go ahead and try our next example. I'm going to go ahead and flip my sheet of paper because I write big. Okay, 3/4 times 6x minus 2, quantity times the quantity, plus 3x equals 5 minus 2x minus the quantity of 1 half less 7. Sorry, 1 half x. My apologies. So we have a little bit more than we did last time, but again, the first thing we need to do is distribute, okay? Now, I'm not going to do the fraction part. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply as is, okay? So 3/4 of 6x, okay? You can do that mentally. You can do it with a calculator, but you're going to end up with 9 halves x. And again, we keep our fractions. 3/4 of negative 2 is negative 3 halves plus 3x equals 5 minus 2x minus a half of x minus 7. Okay, now we want to combine like terms. So left side and right side, we want to combine like terms. And again, all these pretty vertical fractions. So 9/2 x and 3x. Okay, let's go ahead and remind you how to do that. So 9/2, so parenthesis, 9 divided by 2, parenthesis, plus 3. And then we hit math, enter, enter, and we get a fraction of 15/2. So we have 15/2 x minus 3/2 equals, and then go ahead and combine my x's on this side. This will give us negative 5/2 x. Oh, my apologies. Let's try this 1 second. I just realized I made a mistake. Oopsie, I wrote the problem wrong. So we're going to go ahead and do it as is. This was supposed to be a negative, and this was supposed to be a positive, but we're going to go ahead and just act like this was the original problem. So it might take me a second to double check what we're doing. So then we have minus 2. Okay, so, or negative 2. So from here, we're going to combine like terms. So I'm going to add my 5/2 x to the other side. And I'm going to add my 3/2 to the right side. Right? 15/2 and 5/2, that's really easy. It becomes 20/2, and 20/2 is 10. You get 10x equals, and let's go ahead and practice what that looks like. Negative 2 plus 3/2 is negative 1/2. And we're going to go ahead and divide by 10, which, remember, when you divide a fraction by anything, it's really like you're multiplying by the reciprocal. So negative 1/2 times the reciprocal of 10, which would be 1/10. And so therefore x equals negative 1/20. Okay, and that worked out just fine. Okay, let's do one more. Ooh, I did not know I could do that. Hold on. My apologies. I didn't know I could zoom on my computer. I touched my mouse pad and it started zooming on me. Okay, let's do number 4. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to challenge you to pause the camera or pause the video, and I want you to try the problem and then come back and see if you get the right answer. Okay, but I'm going to be here and I'm going to explain it. So like I said, go ahead and pause it once I've written the problem. Try it on your own, and then watch me do the video. Watch me do the video. Watch me do the problem and see if you got it right. Okay, and if not, you erase and fix it, and you can ask questions and clarify what went wrong. Okay, so the problem that you have is 4 times the quantity of negative 3x plus 5, end of quantity, minus the quantity of 1/2 x plus 2, end of quantity, equals 1/4 times the quantity of x minus 2. So you have 3 different things to distribute. Okay, so again, go ahead. I'm going to challenge you to pause it now and to distribute and combine like terms and to solve for x. Okay, awkward pause for intensity of you pausing. Okay, you're back with me. Let's solve this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So we get negative 12x plus 20 minus 1/2 x minus 2 equals 1/4 x minus 1/2. Okay, again, keep your fractions. And we're going to combine like terms. I have negative 12x and negative 1/2, which combined would be negative 25 halves x, and 20 minus 2 is 18, which equals 1/4 x minus 1/2. Then I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. Since this one is negative, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the other side just because we like having positive x values when we can. Which means then I'm going to add 1/2 to the other side. So combined, we have 18.5, which as a improper fraction is 37 halves, which equals 1/4 x plus 25 halves x. Add those. Again, use your calculator. You do not have to do this as mental math. Let's verify how we can do that. Parenthesis 1 divided by 4 plus parenthesis 25 divided by 2. Okay, we get a decimal, math, enter, enter, and we get 51/4 x. Okay, and again, when you're dividing, it's the same thing as multiplying by a reciprocal, okay? So if I am, rather than dividing by 51/4, I'm going to go ahead and just multiply by the reciprocal of 4 divided by 51 on both sides. So then that cancels out, and I'm left with just x. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply the other side and simplify. So 4 divided by 51 times 37 halves. And you don't need a multiplication sign in between those. Just make sure you're using your parentheses in division for fractions. Okay, we get a long decimal, but we want a fraction. So math, enter, enter, and we get 74 divided by 51. Okay, so again, how do you turn fractions or decimals to fractions? You go to math, and then you go to option number 1, which has a little arrow, and frac, which means turn to fraction. And then you hit enter, and you have your simplified fraction. Okay, so that is it for part 1. Join me in the next video for part 2.